Rachel Sanders.
Here.
Ms. Zerk.
Here.
And Ms. Oaken. Here. And Ms. Holland. Ms. Cannon. Ms. Bernice Dixon. Ms. Brown.
And she's Jones now. That's the one to be corrected when the next one goes.
Ms. Jones. Here. Ms. Hudson. Ms. Kimball. Kimball's not here. Ms. Parker. Parker.
17, is that right? 17, 24. I believe it was 4. We need the approval of the minutes as circulated. Meeting held January 12.
I move that the minutes be approved as circulated.
Second motion. Those in favor, please say aye. Contrary, no. Motion carries and accepted as circulated. I don't believe we have any communications this time. Do you have a report, Ms. Austin, for the secretary? May we hear from the treasurer, auditor's report?
I'll give the audit report for last year. I'll give the professional register first. And when the audit here carried on by Young, Garber and Company, because we have examined the books of their county, the financial records of the Nurses Professional Register, 5th District, Atlanta, Georgia, for the year ending December the 31st, 1964, and from such an examination had prepared on the basis of cash receipts and disbursements the accompanying balance sheet at December 31st, 1964, the statement of income and expenses for the year then ended. In our opinion, the accompanying statement presents fairly the financial position of the Nurses Professional Register of December 31st, 1964, and the results of operation on a cash basis for the year then ended on a basis consistent with that of the preceding year. And this audit was made January the 11th. The balance sheet cash basis of the assets: cash $1,599.46, prepaid rent $125, furniture and fixtures note $2,437.23. Total assets $4,161.69. Liabilities accrued payroll taxes $501.23. Nurses $3,660.46. Total liability $4,161.69. Furniture and fixtures are shown at cost. Note the
At this time, the secretary will call the roll by section. Would you please stand and stay standing until we count?
1963 dues, $2.50. 1964 dues, $16,410. Total, $16,412.50. Non-professional nurses, 1963 dues, $1,750. 1964 dues, $5,650. Total, $5,666.50. $7.50. Part-time nurses and professional or non-professional, 1963, $55.50. 1964 dues, $797.25. Total, $852.75. Bill heads and miscellaneous, $754.36. Total income, $23,687.11. Expenses, salaries, $20,484. Supplies, $538.62. Telephone and telegraph, $598.30. Rent, $1,500. Insurance, $125. Audit, $325. Taxes and license, $89.74. Payroll taxes, $876.39. Dues and subscriptions, $3. Postage, $116. Flyers, $39.75. Total, $24,695.80. Excessive expenses over income, $1,008.69. Statement of nurses' secretary balance, December 31st, 1963, $4,669.15. Excessive expense over income, $1,008.69. Total balance, December 31st, 1964, $3,660.46. I move that this report be accepted.
Second.
Make a motion.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Now, to save your time, they wrote the same thing as the beginning of this as they wrote on the other, so I'm not going to read it. They're just telling us that they've made it, and that's it. So, I'll skip that page if it's all right with you people. 5th District, Georgia State Nurses Association balance sheet, December 31st, 1964. Assets, cash, general funds, $4,613.88. Pledge of security on loan, $3,573.22. Nurses Fund and Saving Account, $36.76. Office Change Fund, $25. $8,248.86. U.S. Saving Bond at cost, $1,189.50. And the cash value would be $1,561.85. Total assets, $11,007.48. Liabilities, nurses secretary. Unremitted payroll taxes, $224.18. Dues to Georgia State Nurses Association, $3,737.25. Nurses secretary, $5,209.31. Loans from the Atlanta Federal Savings and Loan Association, $1,836.74. Total liabilities and nurses secretary, $11,007.48. This, it says, note, this statement was prepared on the cash basis of accounting. Office furniture and fixtures are stated at cost, with no allowance being made for depreciation. Income, dues, note. $36,562.50. Subscriptions to the American Journal of Nursing, $194.50. Miscellaneous, $130.71. Total income, $36,888.71. Expenditures, Georgia State Nurses Association, $25,311. Salary, $5,206. Flyers, $134.30. Rent, $762. American Journal of Nursing subscription, $165.50. Telephone, $627.22. Stationery, $509.95. Postage, mailing, and miscellaneous expenses, $757.20. Legal and audit, $330. Gifts and awards, $110.47. Section expenses, $193.50. District meter expenses, $631.72. Convention expenses, $945. Travel, $200. Insurance, $72.12. Payroll and property tax, $287.80. Office supplies and expenses, $1,050.39. Total, $37,294.17. Excess of expenditure over income, $405.46. Nurses effective bounds, December the 31st, 1963, $2,041.55. Nurses Convention Savings Fund account, $3,573.22. Total, $5,614.77. Less expensive expenditure over income as above, $405.46. Balance December the 31st, 1964, $5,290.31. Note, dues and reports as income is collected. The dues of $36,562.50 above is composed of $31,151.25 as 1964 dues and $5,411.25 as 1965 dues collected in 1964. As of the beginning of the year, 1964, there had been $5,037.75 of 1964 dues included in 1963 income. I move that this report be accepted.
I'd like to ask Ms. Mace about the convention fund. Is that earmarked for convention?
That's what this is.
It is. Uh-huh.
That's what they have.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Well,
gonna put
good.
this on the table that you people can look
Well, I
at.
just wanted to ask about it because I knew that was put aside in '59 for convention fund, and that it should stay earmarked that until it's ruled by the district. And I just didn't understand.
May I make an explanation to that? He said regardless of how it's earmarked, it must show, because the bank's report, interest to them, and it has never been shown on the audit report. So he had to include it on this one to show that it had been done, and it's still earmarked just as it was. It's in the same place it was put, and that's the only thing is it was brought out in that report. It makes it sound richer. She has it on the report, right? That makes it sound richer than it was. It's gone up in interest. We've gotten quite a bit of interest on it. Nothing has been drawn out of it. It's just added to it every time. From the time it went in, a little over 2,000, I think, or It's gotten interest.
Good.
Madam Chairman, it's $3,573.22. I had to look for it, because the convention's down here twice, two different things.
May I ask, she read out a loan there from, Federal Savings and Loan, and we purchased a bond, US bonds, for the total of $1,189.50. That there's 3.5%.
No, we didn't purchase that. It's in, see.
Oh, I see.
And it
I was
gave-
wondering why we'd be
gave
buying
what-
bonds if
It'll
it pays
mature
3.5
next
and we
year.
pay 6 for our loan.
Be
No,
20
it
years
gave-
old, I think, next year. It'll
Oh,
mature
good.
then.
Madam Chair, I noticed in both of the registries and this one, that there's a note saying that there's no provision for depreciation. Shouldn't we set up a depreciation on our furniture? I'm sure that down at the registry is badly worn now, some of the upholstery, and, how does tax come in on that for us?
May I give an explanation?
That's what I'm
When we
wondering.
got our new furniture 2 years ago, and we only spent about $300, the sofa was the most, he gave us $1,700 worth of depreciation, and everything was
Oh.
brought up to date.
That's
So
what
we've
I'm
gotten more than our share, and of course, most of theirs is new down there, you know, all that,
I
Remington
know,
brand
and I saw
equipment.
how badly worn some of those chairs down at the registry were getting,
Well,
and I was just wondering,
Ours was reupholstered.
should we allow for some depreciation or something?
I think they do it periodically, but they gave us $1,700 worth year before last.
Well, I
We
think
just make a big, excuse me, Mr.
I'm just agreeing that maybe we should think about setting up, but I know you look at it.
I think what they do though is ever so often, they just take
Well,
a big
that's
slash off of it, but they don't dare to slash it every year because it doesn't depreciate that much in the government size.
We've been
I
in
imagine
this-
that's the way they look
Well,
at
I just knew in my home, I had to take depreciation on my home, my income tax, and that's.
We've
just
been
how
up there
it's
so long, we
set up,
should have
and I
homestead
just wondered
exemption.
If it was enough to be worthwhile, that's what I wondered.
Are you ready to vote on the main motion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Motion carries. Article 4. I mean, reserve, didn't you second that?
Like they tax some reserves and.
Thank you, Ms. Wade. We hear from our executive secretary now, Ms. Allen.
Well, I'll make mine very brief to you because I've spent the day clearing members. We got 44 new ones to add to the report on there, and today, which will give us a total of 700 plus 5. And I went by the post office before I left and got in 7 more. And last year at this time we had 548, so we are exactly 205 members ahead. And if you'd like to know the section, I'll give it to you briefly, and then we'll give you written reports. I have the stencils ready for all.
Give us the 64.
In March the 9th last year, you had 548. No.
65 is how much?
Wait a minute, I'm getting my figures, but yes, that's right, 548.
548 and 64.
And I have 152 on this last report, which will make me a total of 700. It'll go in the morning after the approval.
700 in the morning.
Plus 5. And I'll give you quickly the sections if you want them. CESR 6, EACP 82, Administrative 148 plus 1, General Duty 103 plus 2, Occupational Health 34, Public Health 85, Private Duty 242 plus 2, totaling 700 plus 5. And then it's our left, there's 7 that I haven't posted because I got them just before leaving the office. We have 1 we're waiting on the punch card, so that would make you 8 in addition. The books are up to date. We just distributed 1,100, or I have them for distribution. I have just some more left and have all the nomination forms you want of the Nurse of the Year. I put them in the mail today for the hospitals and health agencies. We'll have some more at the meeting on Thursday. If any of you would like additional, just give us a ring. We'll be glad to mail them to you. And we've been very busy, as you probably know, so I won't take further time to tell you about it.
At least on the plus side today. That's mankind. I think we're all working awfully hard to get members. Are there any questions you'd like to ask Ms. Atkins?
All A&A cards have been mailed too, but I'll tell you one thing, we've got more changes of addresses. I have 2 boxes that came in this past week. And by next year, we will have to have your zip code, so we'll ask all of you to make any changes to give them to us.
Reports for standing committees, program and payment.
Joint committee on careers and programs, they had one, planning meeting, our team, service and nurse of the year, established date, May the 12th, 1965. We've made tremendous progress, and we have a second set up. We will be receiving a number of communiques, solicit your help, assessment program. The first presentation of the program will be Thursday by Gina Gazette and Crawford Long alumni. I would like Ms. Harper to announce our program subsequently.
We will have Dr. Fred Allman to speak with us Thursday on the American Medical Association sponsored bill elder care. And he said he would try to be there by 5, but it might be 5:30.
Thank you.
I contacted all the hospitals today in the Atlanta area and asked them to notify their staff of the speaker.
What was his name again?
Fred Allman, A-L-L-M-A-N.
He's gonna speak on Medicare.
Probably that's a mistake.
Yeah. The alumni present in attendance will remain just a few minutes past this meeting. I'd like to have a little briefing.
Alumni present. Printing Miss Atkins.
Well, we finally got your schedule cards back on the 26th, and other than that, the 1,500 copies of Nita.
Now we come to the bylaws committee report, and I would like to bring us up to date. I don't believe there are any new members here to this board that hasn't been keeping up with the proposed revisions of bylaws since this started last September. I'd like to just give you a little rundown on this. If you remember, at the close of the meeting, where is it, Miss Atkins, in
Are you talking
the
about?
minutes of our last meeting,
This is a little heavy.
at the close of the meeting, it was moved that all discussion concerning the changes or other business that would be affected by the vote on the proposed changes in bylaws of the 5th District GSNA be suspended at this meeting, and all matters be referred to the 5th District GSNA Executive Board for consideration. And this motion was carried and the meeting was adjourned. So we're right back where we started from. After the meeting, the chairman contacted our attorney, our parliamentarian, and I'd like to read to you his advice on the matter. Dear Ms. Garland, this will acknowledge receipt of your letter of February 3, 1965. In answer to your various questions as contained therein, the following are my opinions. 1. There is no action which was taken at the January meeting which needs to be rescinded. The proposed bylaw changes presented at that time just did not receive the required 2/3 vote and therefore failed. This leaves you in precisely the same position as you were prior to the meeting referred to. You'll remember that Mr. McClellan was present. 2. Insofar as the bylaws which must conform to the American Nurses Association are concerned, notice of these should be given in the usual way and voted upon, either separately or together, at the meeting which is specified by the notice. I believe it would also be well to spell out in the notice and to announce definitely at the meeting that they are required by ANA and also, where applicable, by the state association. 3. For a motion at the meeting involved, the proposed changes could of course be voted upon separately, or within the discretion of the chair could be submitted separately without motion. If this were done, there would of course be no reason why changes other than those actually required could not also be submitted. I trust this gives you the information desired. With that information in writing, the chair instructed the secretary, the executive secretary, to print the official notice in the March meeting, and all of you have copies of this. Now, as our parliamentarian says, we are right back where we started from, and it's up to this board to proceed in the manner that you would like.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, Ms.
I move that the proposed amendments to the bylaws be referred to the bylaws committee for further study and amendment.
Motion form.
Yes, sure do. Right.
Discussion in order. Was this motion second?
Yes.
That's
Then
for Hattie.
Here's this one.
Yes, Mahaffey. Did you want to read it before you discuss it?
The motion is, I move that the proposed amendment to the bylaws be referred to the bylaws committee for further study. Mr. Nancy Mahaffey.
Does everyone understand the motion? And second. Now, discussion is in order, and I believe Ms. Bennett has, Madam President, I believe that we have had a very excellent and learned committee on the bylaws. They've given diligent pursuit to this, great time, effort, talent, and in, the interest of the progress of the district as it meets
Chairman, I'd like to make a correction in this. The district bylaws do not conform to the American Nurses Association. They do conform to the State Nurses Association. And this is just an error in reporting.
I'd like to point out in Article 15 in our bylaws, I'd like to draw attention to that article in the printed sheet. And I speak in favor of referring them back to the bylaw committee for further study, because this seems that this article is in conflict actually with the with the GSNA bylaws. So I believe that it should be studied, and that's why I feel that it should be referred back to the committee. The article there, Section 1, Article 15, Section 1, the voting body at any meeting of this association shall consist only of members in good standing who are present and whose dues have been received at the 5th District Georgia State Nurses Association 10 days prior to that meeting. Now, that is taking away the rights of members. And it seems that we would not wish to have proceed and let that carry on another year. Also, where there's a matter of views, a matter of disciplinary action, and a matter of anything that is voted by the Georgia State Nurses Association, the district has to conform automatically, and the district does not vote on those bylaws. And if it's the dues that we're worried about, then we don't have to worry about them. You just go ahead and make the changes automatically. And if it's the disciplinary action that you're concerned about, that can also be made, because that is voted by the parent organization. And the district does not have to vote on that, because it wouldn't matter which way they vote, they've got to comply anyway. And so it seems that it would be wise to go ahead and make those necessary changes, which we may make, which are make them to meet the GSNA bylaws, that is the dues and the disciplinary action and whatever other part of the proposed amendments related to the question. Now there's another article there, Article 19, that I would like to call your attention to. Section 1, bylaws may be adopted, amended, or repealed at any annual meeting or regular meeting. Now that is quite contrary to all good parliamentary procedure, because if you wanted to, you could get enough people with the mind to go in there and repeal the entire bylaws at a district meeting. And that certainly should be studied. And since we can, I'm quite sure, I think it could be cleared with the state parliamentarian, but I think that we would be able to go ahead and make the necessary, the needed changes to conform to GSNA, and then let the committee study this whole question of the bylaws, because you certainly wouldn't want to deprive a member of a right to vote. If she paid her dues 10 days, that is one of those things that date way back, I think, that we had in there.
Right.
That,
in there.
What's that?
It's been in there since 56, 53. That's
Well,
right,
it
but it's-
should be out, because if I paid my dues, if I paid my dues on the 31st of, March, I'd want to vote the 1st of April, and according to this, could.
Section two.
Section 2 reads.
What's that?
On section two, I think that needs to
No
be-
member shall be permitted.
No, these bylaws may be amended at an annual meeting by unanimous vote without previous.
Oh, yes,
Both of those.
and there's a conflict in the bylaw itself there. And these ladies over here called attention to it. That skipped me. These bylaws may be amended at any annual meeting by unanimous vote. And then we go back up here somewhere, and it says that they're supposed to be amended at the annual meeting.
But
That's up there under
But
the
you read
bylaws
on, it
committee,
says,
I think.
without previous notice providing majority of the alumni president or present.
And it,
The
then
alumni
there's,
that have
there's a
some
lot of things in this that if we're going to bring them back to the membership to vote on, it seems that the committee should have an opportunity to pick up these things and give us some amendments there that would be helpful.
Madam Chairman, I don't see how anybody could pay dues on the 31st of March and be eligible to vote on April the 1st because our membership, the section 2 under Article 3 says that there has to be cleared by the membership committee, and they couldn't meet that day. What would happen?
But if
We
it's
cleared one off
if
with
it's a
them
renewal, they
yesterday.
could, but if it's a
They
new
don't
member, they
usually
couldn't
do it.
because you couldn't clear the references.
Well, I paid my dues, so I'm not worried, but I just used
But you're a renewal.
an example.
But you're a renewal.
What's
Yes,
that?
but
You're
That
a
really
renewal.
isn't a change in the bylaw, that statement, you know,
No.
about paying your dues and voting.
No.
No, but it was, she said that she expected to vote the next day. Well, maybe Ms. Hudson would. We don't understand. What the new member expected that hadn't been cleared through the membership committee.
Well, then, this should be brought in and to be cleared by the membership committee. But they wouldn't pay the dues if they hadn't been cleared. You wouldn't accept the dues, would you?
Oh, yes.
You have to pay it with the application.
Pay with your
Well, then,
application.
this certainly should be, revised.
Yeah.
But,
If you want the membership committee to, clear it, well, then, let's put that, because this would just arbitrarily, debar some people from going into the meeting and voting where they would, where they should have that privilege, I think.
Would have to bar new members, but renewals who have been in good standing in the district could pay their dues and be reinstated because that doesn't have to go back to the membership.
I know, but, in order, we wouldn't want to,
Mislead the
militate
new-
against anybody that was interested enough to join the district. And if we just said that after it's cleared by the, membership committee, well, then they'd be able to pay their dues and vote. But it really should, there's several changes in that, in the entire bylaws that ought to be studied and brought out.
Well, Madam Chairman, do I understand then by the discussion that we just had that these areas of conformity automatically go in the bylaws?
They do.
We
We're
voted on
constituent
those
of the
at
A and A,
convention.
so it automatically
Yes,
go
that
in.
convention. That was
Then we
voted.
wouldn't have to vote on that at all in our district?
But the
That's
state
adopted.
association of doubts we've got to conform to regardless.
That was voted on at the convention.
We're constituent of A and A and GSNA, so we have to conform.
Well, I declare I didn't know.
But Madam President, and Ms. Hudson, I don't want to be contrary to what you're just saying, but I
Well, for
feel
heaven's
after
sake,
this
don't talk down
bylaws
to me.
committee has spent the time that they have spent, that we should go ahead and clear that out and then clean up the rest of this. They are reappointed for another term and then let them clean this up and bring it forward at the right time. But what we're supposed to be voting on is what we should have voted on last year in
Well, it's
64.
been duly voted on, I beg you, At our last meeting, the bylaws were duly voted on.
Madam Chair, it seems to me that if we're going to have anything in a form, that we should have them right. And let them conform from the very beginning. We've printed them, we've done this, and when they come out now, let's have them right for all the sections, all sections of it. Even if it does take 2 or 3 months to restudy them, we'd rather wait and have them right.
What we've been asked to act on is what has been approved by the state bylaws.
Has Mrs.
You mean the whole thing?
What is in this proposal? This is as it came from the state committee.
But has Miss Watts been consulted since these were voted down at the district meeting the other day? What has she ruled on?
The chairman has not contacted her, and I believe this is the privilege of the chairman to contact what parliamentary advice and make the ruling.
Well, since there has been some, we'd like to have it read, anyway.
Well, suppose you tell us that, and
You tell us. I
I didn't contact.
No, but I sent a letter, we sent a letter requesting this, information to be read at this meeting.
What is the wish of the group? We
Just
have
have
a
it in
member who
executive.
on her own contacted the state
Not on her
parliamentary.
own, there's the whole section. It was private duty nurse.
You are saying. You contacted her. We talked to her at the state headquarters, but so did our executive secretary ask for it, and she was to send a letter.
Well, the executive secretary certainly is the executive secretary to every member in this district. And she certainly has a right to write to the parliamentarian and for advice. If she doesn't, then we don't have an executive secretary.
But we were all at that meeting on parliamentary procedure at state headquarters, and we all talked to her. And she said she would send a letter. And when this meter came out, and I saw that notice, and I knew that it had been referred to the board, I didn't see how on earth that notice could be in the meter when the board had not met. And that's why I went down to the office and asked to see the correspondence.
Madam Chairman? Yes. I think the main, thing that we're, want to really get in line is with the A&A. And, we failed to do it at our last time because at that time we did not vote individually on each thing. If we had, then probably, if everyone knew that we had to conform to the A&A, that part would have carried. Some of the other parts might have been differences of opinion, naturally, and the voting may have been a little bit different. But since we did it as we did, I think what you're trying to do is to get the part that conforms with the A&A taken care of at this next meeting, and then the other might wait for further.
I believe this is what we're having so many inquiries about, Ms. Wells. We're all getting questions about dues for the young graduates and that sort of thing.
That's mandatory. We voted on that in the GSNA convention. That was first passed in the House of Delegates at the American Nurses Association. That was included in the district bylaws that was sent out from A&A. That was incorporated in that. Then when these districts were, this district amended their bylaws like every other district did in their in the state. Of course, they included these amendments that were made and this new motion that was article that was added to our bylaws because we had on the state level, we had to adopt those because it was passed in the House of Delegates last year. So they were put into GSNA bylaws. Now each district in the state, the members voted on that last year at the convention in Jekyll Island. therefore, each district had to incorporate those into the bylaws. And it's been circulated. It was circulated in the Georgia Nursing Bulletin when we published ours last year before going to convention. So as far as those changes, there's really no vote. Now, it needs to be read so that the members of the state district knows that it's in the bylaws. But we do need, these new articles that we had to change. One that we, new article that was added about disciplinary measure. Then we had the new dues for the new graduate. We had to accept that. So those are the things that we had to put
Those
into
would
the bylaws.
automatically be incorporated.
Those are automatically put into the bylaws. Now, of course, the members, and you published it in the Georgia Nursing, your district meter already. They've had it from Georgia Nursing. So if the committee wanted to do anything, that is all that the district, would be read to them. But they've already been adopted for the state. That's the dues that they seem to be questioning about the new graduate.
The new graduate.
That's right, now the new graduate. Now that has to be, we have to do that.
We have to do
We have to do that. We have to do that. We have to accept the disciplinary measure. And I like to say here, it's gonna be a little out of order, but it is on disciplinary measure. We are receiving from other states, where states have put this into action, and we are receiving over GSNA the names and the charges made against these nurses, and it's being sent into the state.
And I believe if those part of the bylaws were read that are, you might say, mandatory, in that we are an integral part of the AMA, that there would certainly not be a dissenting member in the whole association.
No.
And I think that, of course, we don't have it now, unless we just do it automatically, but even if we do it automatically, if we
It
read
should be read to the members.
It should be read to the membership and explained that it's mandatory that we accept them.
And that would
That would be that.
help a great deal.
Well, isn't all that would be necessary for that is Ms. Garland to make an official statement to the body, and that would be it?
It's been published.
You
made your official
It's been published.
Because that would clear all of that, and I or you or anybody else would have any, you're the chairman, prerogative to say otherwise. Because it's, as Ms. Hudson says, we have no choice. If it's the state said it, then we have to conform, and that's it. So you've made your statement in the official bulletin.
So we just need to be
That's
told what we ought to do.
Well, I think we're making a lot of hullabaloo about that, because, because we have to do it. And the members, if they know that this is mandatory, I think that that's all we need.
Because it was incorporated, I'm sure.
That's all.
I
She's
voted
made her
as we
statement.
did.
The members who attended the state convention did that.
Well, if it could be made clear that,
That's right.
these automatically go into effect, I think that would clear the whole question.
But
Well, then they wouldn't have to be voted on again. Just be announced.
It's announced, it's her official statement as fifth district.
Is there further discussion on the motion for the body? Move that the proposed amendments to the bylaws be referred to the bylaws committee for further study.
I would, speak against that unless, we could specify that, we would take care of the things that we had to take care
Madam,
of by way of explanation, and if anybody wanted to object.
Madam Chairman, I move to amend the motion.
This motion,
Yes,
would you,
yes, if I may have a,
I second
I would amend it to add that, the articles which need to be, I don't want this motion, I want,
A new motion, new piece of paper.
that the articles,
Give a bell, that's the ink on the back of it.
which, which we need to, have the membership know about in order to conform to the GSNA bylaws, that those be, read to the assembly. That would clear the whole question. And I move that the motion, what was it?
You wanna study these, or these ones you
No,
want to study?
no,
Well,
No, I know
this
the
is
amendment.
entirely over to this because
what?
what your motion
Yeah, well, what
couldn't amend this.
Yeah,
It's
well, I can
irrelevant.
amend that motion too.
Well, not if you want this, read, this is to refer the whole deal back to.
I know, but I want to amend the motion instead of referring the whole deal. I want to say what to bring to the assembly.
Gotta read that.
Well, take out what we have to accept.
Takes precedence over the
You've already shut down.
trash, and you just leave it, because that takes precedence over the
People admit it, 'cause that does go back, you just read that.
The amendment takes precedence over the main motion.
Well, I thought the whole
So
thing was
that-
approved by
they change the
the,
whole motion.
it says in the meter that the whole revisions were approved by the GSNA Executive Board.
Approved before
Yes, that's what.
The
we-
following are proposed revisions of bylaws with recommendations by the Bylaws Committee, the Georgia State Nurse Association, and approved by the GSNA Executive Board. It's already been approved. What
Well,
are we
it seems to me we could have saved an awful lot if we'd have brought it to the assembly to be approved first before ever sending and let them vote
No,
in.
the protocol.
In the, has to go to them first.
Yeah, it's already been approved, so how can you take some of them out and say they weren't approved? The whole thing's been approved.
The amendments were brought to the board in August of last year.
Oh,
And then then it was redone, wasn't it, and brought back in September? Wasn't that what
And then it
happened?
went to pre-convention.
I mean, the pre-convention vote.
well, Miss Dixon, having all these revisions go back to the board,
And we didn't, what
well,
name
what's
of the
this
vote on?
motion mean then? I'm confused.
There wasn't
It hasn't been brought to the district. The proper motion for the bylaws is the bylaw committee of the district study the bylaws and make the proper amendments. They send it to the, they bring that to the executive board and read it. Then they send it to the state committee on bylaws, and they see that it does not disagree with the GSNA bylaws.
Well, has that already been
And
done?
then, that's already been done. Then it went to the, GSNA, executive board for approval. Then it comes back to this board and goes to the, if there's any change, then it come back to this board, and then it goes to the 5th district floor for approval. And, there were other changes.
It went to the floor.
It went to the floor in January, but it was voted today.
But
So
what
what
I
are
was
we trying
trying
to
to
do?
say, it's already been approved by the GSNA
Board.
board.
That's right.
Well, why send it back for more approval if it's already been approved?
Well, we have to approve it.
For these, there's, you've already approved.
Well, you have the same principle because
Now, the only,
things come to this executive board before it's taken to the district.
that's right.
And maybe the board would approve something here, but the assembly would turn it down.
Now, if there's any changes after the committee on bylaws of GSNA, if there's any changes made in those bylaws, they have to be referred back to the state bylaw committee for study.
But see, we haven't made any
Start right
changes,
back
all
over.
we're doing is send it back and they've already approved it. What are they gonna say?
Well, these, the changes that were called out tonight was not changes that were made in, amendments that were made in 1964. These are amendments that need to be made in 1965, and the bylaws need to be changed.
In other words, what's gone before is gone. We have to start all over.
Well, we always do every year.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, I mean, as far as the bylaws were concerned. we couldn't just take that and say, well, it's been approved and go ahead with it. We have to, they have to be written up again, just like we did start with.
These, yes.
Well, we can still act on the ones that have been approved,
That's right.
if we want to.
Rather lengthy.
Well, this, main motion has been seconded, we have to act on that, or amendment, before.
Amendment or substitution, I may offer a substitute motion. It's so long as it's germane to the question. And this will be germane to the question. I hope it'll clarify what we're trying to do. Let me have another piece of paper, please. Substitute motion, I move the necessary amendments be incorporated in the bylaws of the fifth district, and that the bylaw committee be requested to study further needed amendments in the bylaws. Study the bylaws for further needed, for further study. Be requested to study.
That's,
The ones that they mentioned tonight, I'm sure.
Since we don't need about the dues, what else do we need?
that's
Well,
for
the
further
necessary
approval
amendments,
for the 1965 though, isn't it?
What's that?
This is for approval for the August, for the July GSNA bylaw committee, for
Yes,
them to reach them by July.
if possible.
Uh-huh.
And then they can review it and bring in the necessary changes that should be brought in. But these that are a matter of a procedural
Yes.
nature that just needs to be incorporated, let's go ahead and incorporate them. I'm trying to say that the necessary necessary
Areas of control.
necessary areas of conformity. Now, wait a minute, that'd get too deep. I don't know whether I
Well,
want
if
to
the
say all.
bylaws be made to conform with ANA and GS.
I just
Be
refer to
conform to GSNA. That be that, move that the necessary necessary amendments needed to conform to GSNA bylaws be incorporated in the bylaws of the fifth district, and that the bylaw committee be requested to study further needed amendments.
I second the motion.
Here's the here's the, no, wait,
Here's the original signature.
if you can't read it, I'll read it to you.
When you listen to the substitute motion proposed by the
That the
president,
necessary amendments needed to conform to GSNA bylaws be incorporated in the bylaws of the fifth district, and that the bylaws committee be requested to study further needed amendments.
and Ms. Norton seconded. Now, is the discussion to the substitute motion? Yes, may I please ask a question for information? Time element, in July 1964, the committee submitted the bylaws, proposed bylaws, to the state committee, is that correct? When? July. That's right. And at that time, the report returned that there were no conflicts and it was accepted. Is that correct? Well, we didn't get the report
That was
back
only for the
until
amendments
November.
they submitted.
Didn't get it back from them. It was not in its entirety.
That's right. That's right.
No, that wouldn't see
Well,
that.
That was the
I'll give them
amendments
my
that
marked
incorporated
copy.
new amendments from
But they were in conformity before they
I'll
went.
give them a marked copy.
And So if they were before they went, only the new
That's
items.
different ones.
So they should be in perfect agreement.
Well,
Have they
Miss
been
May
changed?
says I ought to put it on the paper.
Well, you should have.
That is in question now.
I think it's too much.
They've read them and what you gonna put in them, and they still left.
All right. So, yeah, that,
Madam President, I think what Ms. Hudson, and I'm not saying what you meant, but that they conform and be read to the assembly. Isn't that what you meant? About the dues?
be incorporated, and then if they're incorporated, why naturally they'd be read. And, the membership would be, advised that they were automatically incorporated. I could write it
what I
out that
meant.
way if you wanted it written out.
We understand, they automatically go in, you just read to the assembly and say this has been accepted.
And enclose the article on, which ones are them, Ms. Dixon, do you know?
You said 19.
No, wait a minute, no.
Oh, you mean the new ones,
The ones that have to go in there.
dues for the new
It's Article
graduates.
4 in the proposed revisions, and, where is the other one?
And the
The dues,
Article 7.
Article,
When that limits the bylaw committee to just act on those.
Article,
little things.
7. Article 7 and Article 4 are the necessary ones to be incorporated to make them conform.
and, or they can reword it and make it clearer. Now, I don't know how in the world this stuff got in there state as long as it did. I don't,
What's that, about the 2 weeks?
about 2 weeks.
Well, it seems likely that would just affect, new people, because if we are renewals, we're in good standing unless we would lapse.
That's right. That's right.
And that would be hard, well, it's possible, but.
But if you take these renewals and those who haven't paid by March the 31st and their name is removed from the rolls and they go until June before they pay their dues, they are renewals, but they have to come back to the, back for approval. Because they're
It takes
coming
10 days
Madam
or 2 weeks to do that, doesn't it?
They gonna set up a committee meeting every day to
Would
clear
you
this?
add,
Well, then you better let some provision be in there.
Did you listen again to the reading of
Article
the
4 and Article 7.
I don't know whether she can read it or not.
The necessary amendments, Article 4 and Article 7, be incorporated in the bylaws of the 5th District, and that the bylaws committee be requested to study further needed amendments. Which is Article 15, Section 1 and 2, and Article 19, Section 1 and 2.
That's right.
Well, wouldn't that limit them to those 2 articles?
No,
No, this is
after
just
it goes
calling
back
their
to them,
attention.
anybody
It's
can
calling
send
special
anything.
attention to it.
Just making it easy for them
Anybody
to
can-
see.
Well, let's put in there, then it's just calling their attention especially to these, because I just don't leave them. Because somebody next meeting will get up and say, we just meant those 2. Boy, it's gone.
Well, you can send an amendment to them, to the bylaws committee.
Anybody can send in an amendment to the bylaw, proposed one.
Is there further discussion? We understand the motion?
No, I don't.
Well, really, it's not anything except the routine work, and it's just making it easy for the bylaw committee to put the fingers on things that the members have already seen.
Well, I
But this
wrote
is
it in
routine.
there as one of the members
It seems to me that
requested.
we're
Yes.
asking in that
And so this
motion
is
to
the
put
same
in
thing,
the
I mean, but it's just
areas of
helping the
conformity
committee
plus
to see it.
those 2 amendments that are mentioned there, and limiting the bylaw committee.
No, it's not limited.
They can even introduce.
That's right, you're right.
No, that's just to the
That goes
bylaw.
from the board.
Yeah, I know it, but then the action of this will go to the ballot, the results of this.
I'll rewrite the motion if it'll make it any clearer, but I think the secretary read it exactly like it's supposed to be.
This is board business.
Yeah, I know it.
But it's not, when, the district wouldn't vote on it. That's just referring to a committee, and anything the board refers to committee, the district doesn't work, doesn't vote on it.
I wonder what happened to that first meeting.
Mhm.
What happened to the first meeting? This is the substitute, so you don't. Is that forgot? Did we forget it? Or do you have to go back after dinner? You just voted on substitute. I'll second that motion as she revised substitute.
His English part, that's your.
I don't understand the latter part of it. It seems like it just limits the bylaw committee to those two articles that's mentioned.
Well, they particularly want to pay attention to those two, I think it needs to be changed.
Well, it ought to be said in there then. 'cause
Well,
it-
write it in, I'll write it
It says
in.
Article 15, Section 1 and 2. And you
Yeah.
know, you have that?
Yeah, I got it, I got anything anybody else has got.
You can write it right in the motion, I'll be glad to incorporate that if the members
Oh, I
would
got
like
some of
to
that
have
too. I'll give you a penny.
I'll be glad to incorporate the special attention to those two, last
Well, they can
items.
study anything else, but these two we especially thought they needed.
At the next meeting, somebody said, we only mentioned those two, and that's all we wanted done.
Well, put in there with special attention to those two last items there that I
Special
mentioned,
attention.
and then we'll let it go at that.
Special attention for further
Yes,
attention to these two.
yeah.
And then
Special
Thursday, we
attention to those.
continue with this official notice. And then this is just an extra.
Study, they needed
Am I
amendment.
correct in that?
Special attention to Article
Echo.
15, Section 1 and 2, Article 19, Section 1 and 2. If they see anything else, I guess they can change that.
Yeah, they might even go through it even closer.
Are you agreeable to adding that?
Yes, I
All right.
second the motion.
All right.
Now, what happens Thursday
That's
if
what-
we vote for this
Does the-
motion? We don't vote on the bylaws Thursday?
Does the official
Well, I
notice
see
take
voted on. I
precedence
just-
over?
I have learned that this
Oh.
does not have to be voted on, that it's just automatically incorporated.
What
But
does
it's an official notice from the
It was not an official notice from the
chairman, say board.
The board's gonna have to make a report to the,
but it was
up to
referred
the,
board, and the board
Fifth
had not
District
met when that
Thursday,
went
this
there.
was referred
But
back
do
to
all
the
of
board.
these automatically, that we have here, go with the thing. I mean, you've said that the membership does, what about the rest? The rest of it already knows.
No, I said Article 4 and Article 7, which is, that disciplinary action and the dues.
That's right.
But what happens to these others?
The rest of them,
What others?
use the new graduates.
These things that
The,
are
that's,
here.
that's taken care of. That they were voted on in GSNA convention and approved at the ANA convention in 1964 and were approved at GSNA convention in the fall of 1964. Therefore, they do have to be incorporated in the bylaws of the 5th District Nurses Association. Now,
I think that's you, No, this is mine.
This one's mine, I had it right through there.
Miss Dixon, do you have Miss Garland's, is that yours?
I'm,
Here's one. Don't you lose, you have it
I
right?
was just
You
looking.
had it. You want to borrow this from?
The district is operating under the bylaws as they are now. We've been working on them since July 1964. And this board tonight has a proposal before it to say again to this same committee, would you please, you have presented to us on several occasions, your recommendations, and apparently we accepted them 4 times.
That's not what we said, we just called attention to Articles, 15 and Article 19.
Well, we're saying, if I understand it, to this committee again, please study and bring us another proposal.
they'll have to, by July 1st, they have to have, any amendments to any bylaws in the state of Georgia have to be sent out by July 1st. And then the committee on bylaws at GSNA will meet, and they will review all of the changes, the amendments that are made in
Then they
the,
come back to
district bylaws.
What's the,
Then they go to the executive board in August.
But
Yes,
the
no
indictment
vote.
against, for 4 times the committee brought.
This is not new, Miss Sandy.
Well, they
These
brought
are
it.
new.
They brought the bylaw.
They were
We
voted
could
down.
call from it any time.
That's not the point.
I believe it is.
No, what we
We voted on the bylaws at the meeting, all this came before and that we voted. But in order to get the necessary, articles to conform to GSNA, they'll simply be added and then request them to make these changes over here that are quite obvious. Now, if you don't want these changes made, well, we can take that out and we can just say that,
this is routine. The
but
bylaw
the
committee
district
of the
voted,
district
voted
always
at the
should
last
be
meeting
taking
on the,
bylaws before
proposed
July first.
amendment.
This is routine in the district.
They've done
But,
amendments, but they've been bringing them every time, but we have not.
You brought the amendments. You're not bringing the whole bylaws. Now, errors have been found in the bylaws that we've been working under.
why can't
Now,
that-
these that have been, asked to be looked at now are old articles that have been made. No, they were approved.
Well,
Those were approved, these articles were approved back in, 53, and we've had them in the bylaws. But this has nothing, this motion here has nothing to do with these articles that the, district submitted in 64.
well, didn't the bylaws committee have to review everything?
No.
Well, why did they just pick out certain things and make certain revisions? Didn't they review the whole work?
For bylaw meeting on bylaws of fifth district.
Yeah,
Well,
but
they
didn't
take
they,
all of
didn't
them,
they
take 'em
review
one at a time.
everything, like Ms. Hammond asked a while ago, wouldn't they, if a bylaws committee, wouldn't they review the whole?
They reviewed.
Not necessarily, no.
Well, what
I don't mean make corrections, I don't mean make corrections, but wouldn't they review everything and then make the corrections they think were necessary?
They did 50.
They should have
in
reviewed
1953,
everything.
they-
She's been
I've been on the,
She's trying to get some votes. Well, I think it's out of order for a member to give the floor to another member.
I'm
When another member has the floor. Ms. Dixon, please continue.
Really, I don't know what I'm saying.
I know it is so confusing.
But that's all right. I'm through. I think I've said it.
I've have been on the bylaws committee on 2 different occasions. Now, I'm learning bylaws. I am not an authority by any manner of means. And I was not present at this one because at the time that it was called, I was unable to meet. It was at something like 1 o'clock at Ms. Barfield's office. But in answer to the questions of this other one of, I know I met with one out at Emory, and it seems like we'll only take the changes that are handed down through ANA at the time that the bylaws meets. Now, that's the way, from what my observation has been of. When things have, we have not gone through the whole thing, at least that's the way I have, observed it anyway. I'm not an authority.
This
I'm
committee,
interested in it, but, I'm learning, like, and so.
This committee also added recommended changes from sections, plus the ANA recommended changes. And most of them came from the private duty section. Most of these recommended changes came from the private duty section originally.
Oh, we certainly can't always overlook things that need
No,
to be
they
changed.
didn't come from the private duty section, these that was in this last one, they did not come from the section. That is what we were opposed to, something that was in the staff.
I don't know whether you all have seen, all of you have seen, that A&E puts out a model form for districts. This was put out in 1964. The bylaw committee goes through here and find, now, any district can add to their bylaws, as long as it doesn't conflict with GSNA. Now, if the district can't, all districts can't work under the same, model form like this is set up, because because we have a lot of districts that's much smaller than the 5th District, and we have a great deal more bylaws in the 5th District than we do most of the district bylaws. So, we take from this that is needed in the districts that we need, and that has to conform with GSNA. Now, I think the thing that's in question about here on this motion is this time limit in here. Evidently, when the committee on bylaws met back there, they were trying to set up some time limit in here, so it's been in here. But I don't think any of us knew really that it was there, and we voted on it back when it was made in 53 or 50, maybe before that. I don't know how long they've been in GSNA's bylaws.
I move the previous question. Make the motion.
This takes 2/3 vote from the previous question. Those in favor of ending debate, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Thank you. We're ready then to vote on the substitute motion. And if the secretary will be so kind as to read it, maybe we can all understand it.
The substitute motion is necessary amendments to Article 4 and Article 7 to conform to GSNA bylaws be incorporated in the bylaws of the 5th District, and that the bylaws committee be requested to study further needed amendments, special attention being given to Article 15, Section 1 and 2, Article 19, Section 1 and 2. Ms. Hudson, Ms. Mahoney.
Are you ready to vote?
Or may I ask a question now? Does that do away with Ms. Zerk's motion?
Yeah,
This is a substitute.
substitute.
It doesn't do away with her motion unless
we vote down.
she wants to withdraw it.
If this is lost, then we go back to the main motion.
If she wants to withdraw her motion, she could, but that's up to her.
Oh,
And then you,
here.
I'll withdraw my motion, but request that it be recorded in the minutes, if it meets with the person who seconded it.
Could I ask a question? Is it in order? I mean, since this is debate.
I think we
We
voted.
gotta vote.
Okay,
Close debate.
all right. Thank you.
Those in favor of the substitute motion as read by the secretary, please raise your hand. The substitute motion as read by the secretary. I want to be sure you all know.
11.
And those opposed to the substitute motion, please raise your hand.
You vote? Oh, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 again. 11 for. Substitute.
Is this right?
Routine business.
11 for, 5 again.
11 for and 5 against, the substitute motion is carried.
Ms. Dunn? May I ask a privileged question, I guess, in answer to Ms. Hammett's question about the time that has been devoted to the bylaws? Now, I say I'm supposed to be on the committee, but how many meetings have they had? I've only been notified of one. Can,
I know it's a great,
so that, well,
I do believe it behooves the committee now to take it in its entirety and read every paragraph and make sure that we as board, I think it's an admonition to us, that we should make sure what we're doing when we arrive at the board meeting, to take action and not have to live year in and year out in a state of uncertainty about what we're working on. you can't even, prepare your stuff for the next day.
I agree with that. I think bylaws ought to be, just brought right up to top notch, and we should live by them.
Well, I think from what I have observed, now the one that I was at Emory, right offhand, I can't even recall the title, but I only know of that one meeting. So how can
Why aren't they
anyone go?
notified?
Pardon?
Why weren't you notified to be in a meeting?
You mean of these others?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably, I was notified one time and it was being called at 1:30. I'm an office nurse. I can't take off and go to a bylaws committee at Ms. Barfield's office. Ms. Barfield, now maybe, again, is that her privilege to state the time and the place? And as long as there's a quorum, then that's all right. But should one be notified at any consecutive meeting? Should anybody be?
Yes, you should receive notices, right?
And why can't, if we're going to be put on committees, for some of us that do work days, why can't a meeting be called at night? If we're going, what's the sense of my being put on one and accepting if
they
I
don't have a
can't
meeting?
I mean, that's a personal. I enjoy bylaws. I don't know them. I'll grant you that. Maybe they can carry on without me. But I mean, you just strike my name off as far as being on the committee.
I imagine the chairman would be glad to schedule a meeting in the evening if the members wish to
Can a
have
member of a committee request
that. Yes, yes indeed. Yes indeed. That's your privilege, yes ma'am.
Well, knowing Dorothy Barfield like I do, I don't think she'd intentionally hurt anybody.
No,
Well, I know she's had a task, but, with this, and of course, as I said, I didn't know if it was all done at one meeting or not, except by what Ms. Hammond said, and so that, knowing I was on the committee, I was wondering if all this work had been done in one meeting.
No, they had other meetings and
Well, why
set
did they
the
notify
time
her?
at that first meeting when she wasn't there, and the secretary of Ms. Barfield's secretary stated that she had called. Now, whether you got the message or not, I don't know, but they did have more than one meeting.
I know one had, now, as I said, somebody else might have taken a message, I don't know, but.
The actual committee will hold a congregation instead of being recognized.
Well, I think our bylaws should conform, but I think I agree with Ms. Hammond, it's taken us since last July, and we should have been informed. And I think it's rather late, and I think some of these things could have gone until next year, and then come into it. I'm in favor of the motion as far as it's to send these things back maybe, but I think that we could have gone along and taken care of this. Doesn't it come up every July? I think it could have come up then. I don't think these few changes should hold back the whole works.
It's not gonna hold it back because
Not
this is
holding back
routine.
anything.
It's not holding back anything. This motion only helps the committee to find the errors that have been found in here.
Yes,
Whether they anymore or not, I don't know.
well, what happens
But-
Thursday? We can still vote on? Oh, well, that's what I was, I'm really confused. I thought this held up everything.
Well, I thought the bylaws had already been voted down first.
They were.
Well,
So,
why are they going back again?
The only thing
They're
that'll
not
be done
going back
Thursday, my
because
thing is
well, that's what I was wondering, and I hated to see everything held up. I'm in favor of
There's
your
not anything
suggestion.
held up, but these bylaws right here are in effect as of last
These
meeting.
was always gonna be voted on, sister. The other bylaws have been voted down. These were to be voted on.
Oh, but
and they
these
don't need to
old
be
ones,
voted on.
that's what we didn't want, though. We wanted to get the new ones in, didn't we?
They
You got
say
the
this is
disciplinary
already
measure.
in, we don't have to
You
vote
got
on
the
it.
disciplinary measure.
The chairman would just
And
announce that these are being incorporated.
These are supposed to be already in, is that right?
According to the old bylaws.
Those were put in 64. Disciplinary measure.
Discussion be over.
That is just as good as the other bylaws.
That substitute motion doesn't refer to it.
Couldn't talk
The fact of whether or not you vote on it, does it?
It's just talking about,
Yeah.
After.
Well, that's all right.
But
They
they
could
bylaws
consider
are
it.
renewed in certain articles.
Yeah.
Well, these are to be incorporated. These are to be incorporated, because they already are, so I understand, Ms. Hudson.
Something and just pay their dues.
We don't have to vote on it, GSNA's already voted on them, we just incorporate them in our bylaws. Because the state says we do, is that not right?
We discussed it.
That's what I thought.
I read very well. No commitment.
That's all.
This is the way that measure should read down there, that article.
And then special attention be given to these articles when they study them again. That's what I understand.
Madam Chairman, may we proceed with the order of business?
Well, if we're clear, I suppose, the next order of business is before the finance legislative hearing. You'll pick your head finance, and then you gave your report.
I gave a report.
Is there, report from the legislative committee?
Yes, I think that it's very timely that we are having, a person to come to us, and will it be at our next meeting? Thursday, to discuss elder care and Medicare. I think that's very, very timely. And, the scholarship bill will be available for prospective students in schools of nursing as of July the 1st. And all you have to do is to write to the Board of Regents, Mr. Siebert, and he will see that the applications are mailed to you, and you may make application for the scholarships. There's been no legislative activity on any nursing subject in this last assembly in Georgia, with the exception that there was a procedural change requested by the Secretary of State, that the practical nurses were being paid $6 a day for their services, and there was a procedural change requested by the Secretary of State so they could bring their rate up to, I don't know the exact amount that was stipulated, but it would be in accord with what they're earning, I think.
Membership and credentials.
Yes, they have some recommendations. Ms. Davis asked me to give you her report, and they met yesterday. Had, wait just a minute, I have it right here. They have 3 recommendations for you. ANA has requested, not officially, but in the membership committee nationally and otherwise, and in the last memo from them, they stated that 44 states are using the standard form, which gives them much more information, and the statistical department there, when we were at the last meeting in ANA headquarters, had hoped that the remaining 10 states would conform. Now, this is our little punch card we have been using, and we have had some advantages and some disadvantages on it, but in order to conform with them, we have a recommendation from the membership committee that, let me read it to you, that the ANA standard membership forms be used for 5th District. Second, that the certification membership slip be adopted for membership clearance. This is a little slip designed to save the 40 cents, approximately 40 cents postage on all the members now that they are encouraging the staff members to come in, and it will be given to the directors of nursing service, and it merely states on here a certification slip that the name of the person is a member of the staff and giving her position and what hospital or health agency, and is hereby recommended for membership in the 5th District, Georgia State Nurses Association. And there's a time limit down here, void if not used within 60 days. So she should leave the staff or doesn't go ahead and join the district within that time, and then signed by the nursing director. That's purely designed to save and to help promote membership and to expedite it. And the third recommendation, that the executive board approved, of course, the routine approval of the 30 applications reviewed and approved by that committee.
I moved it.
Is there a motion that, the recommendations of the, membership committee be adopted?
I move the recommendations from, of the membership committee be adopted.
Who seconded it?
Is there discussion?
I'd like to say that several of the districts in the state are using this, and it's very helpful. And it's been very good on the information, because it gives us a great deal more information than we had.
Cut down on clerical too. We have 2 copies there, whereas I've been having to make her a copy. And it will cut down the confusion of so many of the girls. For instance, one person made application, filled it all out Saturday, we got ready to review her. There was no chance to check the membership from last year if it had been used as it was intended, using your other renewal, and this being for the closed file, but there was some confusion there. It was expedited.
How many
You understand?
How many cards do you have?
Of the old, we've distributed most of them. We would have to have some printed, beginning of next year. We have enough to finish now, but, during our next, we'll hope to have a regular membership drive and let it go into effect immediately.
A&A furnished it.
Yes.
Oh, A&A?
A&A furnishes it, yes. And it gives much more information on here than ours. Ours has an advantage, but it has a great disadvantage to them. We get more in a way, but the A&A and the state do not get the whether you've been a member before and what your married name was a year or so ago. It states down on the bottom if you've been one previously, and won't be reinstated. And we will not have to see if the clerical work is done by the applicant here. Ours served its purpose, and it's been fine, but it does not give enough for A&A to get a clear picture of what they need and the age limits, which is not included on our card. And well, that's the point. They can't get a clear picture with 10 states, but within the last year, only had 34 before, 10 more have joined, and there are only 10 remaining who do not conform to the national. You did carry that.
Yeah, we have voted.
Oh, yeah.
Motion was made, seconded, but hasn't been,
We're discussing, are you ready to vote? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Motion is carried, recommendations of the membership committee.
I'd like to, make a recommendation I move that, I recommend that Georgia State Nurses Association Executive Board that, the other districts in the state adopt the A&A membership form. Then that would put the state of Georgia in uniform.
I mean, you're making a recommendation to the district, that's not from this district. You mean you want the district to make the recommendation?
It would go from this vote.
don't I get to keep that?
You mean? I got 6 of
I
them.
mean, the recommendation.
Oh, yes. Put that with yours so you'll have it, and then return it to me when we get through it. With you back there? With yours. I
Yeah, well,
keep all
mine,
the
no.
original.
Yeah.
We keep all the original in the file, and we
Yeah,
get
I'll get back.
it.
I mean, I like it. I'll send it to her.
I got you.
Right. Oh, you mean I gotta write these at Thursday? Where's I gonna get time? See you up tomorrow night, maybe 1 o'clock.
making the recommendation as a motion?
I'm recommending that the Executive Board of Fifth District request the Executive Board of GSNA to, request that the districts in the state adopt this application form. Isn't that what it's saying?
It's just a matter of the, way to get it before the executive board, isn't that the purpose of your motion?
And the board, and the presidents on the board.
Yeah.
And since so many of them are using it, it'd be nice to have it, all of them use it, and we'd be uniform.
Well, she better write it. You wanna change that? Request the state.
Can I say
Request all districts in the state.
Request all the districts, that's the,
Recommend that the fifth district executive board request all districts in the state
put the,
adopt the A and A
You
membership.
mean request the
request the Georgia State Executive Board,
GSNA executive board.
GSNA Executive
You
Board.
better put it in there.
Let me, I'll get ahead of myself.
Steve, confirm that with me, because maybe she can.
Do you want this read again?
Ms. Dixon, recommend that the fifth district executive board request the GSNA executive board to ask all districts in the state adopt the A and A membership application.
Are you ready to vote? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Motion is carried. Our next standing committee report of the nominations, Ms. Mahaffey.
Well, I don't have any names as yet for our, state or, for the district. I forgot I was chairman of the private section. But I haven't received any, so, we're certainly open for any suggested names. I believe that, May the 1st is the, latest date that names will be accepted.
You have on as late as your May, executive board meeting to get those in, which will give you access to May 11th.
Okay.
Either 11th or 12th, but I think it's May 11th is your next board meeting. So even if you mail them in by then, we get them the next day. 12th, I think it's down at the bottom of your agenda on that.
Yeah, May the 11th. Must be in by May the 11th. Nominees for district and state ballot.
All of them have been sent forms. If they want to just go ahead and submit them on those uniform forms, they will be carried out. Definitely. Or they can bring them to the board if they want to in May. They'll be called for again at that time.
Do you have anything else?
Oh, we have contacted, WSD and, getting ready for Nurse Week. I'll ask them to hold, time for that, but we will have, much more publicity later on, the savings of that. And did send a couple of hours to the newspaper today after we received the information.
Mrs. Brown sent me a report. Session time. Careers Committee, Ms. Mallory, I believe Ms. Hammett's, report is, Insurance, Mrs. Fitzpatrick.
She is going to have a meeting on the 18th at 11 o'clock in the headquarters of the committee in the
What day?
The 11th, 18th at 11 o'clock. On March 18th.
March 18th.
At 11 o'clock. Before you leave, we just left the Careers Committee, but may I tell them that all of the alumni will be asked to participate in the program and that we will send them notices in hopes that you will return them to us
On career.
And we have a, report of the study committee of the registry, Ms. Mays.
We recommend, Madam President, that the Registry Committee be appointed tonight. And Sister and I want to submit some names to be used, that is read at least. And I'll just give them to you up here so you can put them in where they're necessary.
Names for the registry committee.
Whenever you go to work on it.
I believe this, is what we
Those
promised.
names are
that
names from the different alumnus that we're presenting.
the registry committee be, appointed tonight. Is there a second? Who's gonna have the second? Mays, Mays, is there discussion?
Yeah, so we brought names too.
I knew you had, but
Would
we
you-
were offering those names.
Is the floor open for nominations, Madam
Not
Chairman?
yet, we're gonna vote on whether or not to appoint the committee tonight. Is there further discussion? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Contrary, no. Motion's carried. Now, how would you like these, names acted on? Shall we go by, we can go by, where's that going?
She has it right here. Look at him.
I think in past one, the alumni, get the names on it and vote.
According to the old rules, the registry committee shall be composed of not less than 11 members as follows. One administrative member.
That's automatically Miss Graves, isn't it?
Madam Chairman? All right, one administrative member.
Madam Chairman, I am Ms. Holly from Georgia Baptist. Nominate.
I think I appear on this list
Well,
already.
in turn, the bylaws say that it rotates. And Emory was last year, so it should be Georgia Baptist this year.
Is there another?
That's the reason that's, are they gonna settle that tonight? And how long it's gonna last? Make it-
Your bylaws calls for it to rotate.
For how many years though are they on there?
Ms. Pope served longer than she should have. That was negligent for him not appointing somebody else.
Administrative member for 1 year?
I don't think there's a question on it, if they're reappointed. There's no question of the length of time that they serve.
There is, it was changed in the bylaws
Yes,
2
it
years
says there
ago.
to rotate. It's in their rules, registry rules.
The
right up here.
administrative representative shall serve 1 year in rotation, starting with Crawford Law, Emory, Georgia Baptist, Graves, Piedmont, and St. Louis. Ms. Holly from Georgia Baptist, is there any other suggestion? Well, this is a rotation, this person has to take this.
It has to be somebody from Georgia Baptist anyway.
Do you want to vote on these separately?
Yes, ma'am.
Those in favor of, well, did you make the motion?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second
I
it.
nominated.
Mr. Christian, second.
But I don't think it's necessary, that, the bylaws takes care of that.
Unless it's
All right, and there's no propositions, one private duty representative from each alumni of the district, and, the alumni.
Across the lawn first, Emory. So we just give them to you.
First is Liz.
Call them alphabet. Georgia Bailey,
It is.
Brady, 1 and 2. We always take them
All
back.
right, suggestions for Crawford Long.
Julia Brock on this list.
Julia
Crawford Long.
Brock.
Clara Burkhalter requested to serve on it.
Miss Brock requested not to be on any committees in our alumni, so I don't know whether that would stand here or not.
Well, she told me she wanted to serve on it
Oh,
because
I'm
she was
talking
on
about
the old
Judy Brock.
committee.
Did
She had
Brock.
Judy Brock,
Oh, Julia Brown.
but I was saying Judy requested not to be on the committee of the alumni.
Did she, agree to serve on this committee?
That's my understanding, but
I didn't contact her, but she was contacted and said she would
Said she
serve.
would serve on this committee. All right, suppose we vote on these things.
you're,
Who was yours,
Mrs. Clara Burkhalter.
Mrs. Clara Burkhalter. Those in favor of Mrs. Burkhalter, please say aye. 1, 2, 3.
Raise your hand.
11. And Brock, those in favor of Brock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Emory.
Ms. Alice Morgan.
Mary Lou Yancey. Mary Lou Yancey.
Mary Lou Yancey.
She's not in Atlanta.
Yes, she is.
Said she's not.
Yes, she is. The
And
lifestyle
she's
city.
consented.
Yeah, but I said she's not in Atlanta the whole year.
No, that's true.
She's
but
a member, and she
Yeah,
Well,
that's
she-
right.
she has a
lives in the
residence here in
country
Atlanta.
Part of the year.
that the home has been broken up.
Oh, she told me at the last time.
Well, that's got her name, right?
Well, she consented to
Well,
that.
she consented to
She lives right over me, and, she stayed with her father during his illness. She spent more time.
In Atlanta.
Lives right over there. Could you go ahead and be getting them?
Can we
and
get
then
the
vote
other
on that?
names down?
Well, you have the two names, Yancey and Morgan.
Miss Dixon's out of the room a minute. We can't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've had George Baptist, Crawford Long, Emory, St. Joseph.
Are we gonna vote on?
We're coming back when Miss Dixon comes back. Who do
St.
you have?
Joseph, we have Miss Betty Connor.
Who is next? St. Joseph?
Betty
C-O-N-N-E-R. C-O-N-N-E-R, Miss Betty Connor.
And the second committee,
Miss Clyde Cleveland.
We have Clyde Cleveland on this list.
now let's get,
C-O-N-N-O-R though.
You got two Brady.
Brady,
She's in it.
number
I know
1.
it is.
We have Miss Caroline, is it Miss or Mrs.? Mrs. Caroline Morris.
Who is this from?
Morris, Brady number 1. And who do you have, Sue?
Oh, for which one's that?
Brady number 1.
Olive Raines.
Rain,
Uh-huh.
Olive,
Raines.
R-A-I-N-E-S.
Uh-huh.
Morris. Brady number 2.
Mrs. Marjorie Roberts. She was on, served before. We don't have her, we have an alternate.
Edna Dillard's on here. Do you want to see anybody from Grady? Edna Dillard.
Edna Dillard's the great one too.
Piedmont.
Piedmont, we have, Mrs. Hattie Dorothy Bronson. B-R-O-S-N-A-N, Bronson.
Hattie?
R-O-S.
Hattie.
Ms. Hattie
That's on this
Dorothy
list too, so we
Bronson.
need to-
Dorothy was her maiden name. She
B-R-O-N-S-O-N?
B-R-O-S-N-A-N, Bronson.
That's on this list too, isn't that interesting?
Well, no
We'll have to
competition.
vote on that one, huh?
Vote on that.
And, me? Oh,
I mean, Holly.
Oh, well, she's administrator.
can we have an individual?
Yes, you
Yes,
have.
you have.
Yes, Miss
I want
Ernestine
Miss,
Phillips,
Lisa
and
May.
I second that.
Who is this individual?
Mrs. Virginia Dear.
And
Individual
Mrs.
is Miss Lucy May.
Helen Moss.
Individual.
Who is the other one?
And who was your individual then?
We had two, Miss Ernestine Phillips and Mrs. Virginia Dear.
D-double-E-R.
Ernestine Dear?
Virginia Dear.
Ernestine
Phillips.
Dear Virginia.
And Virginia Dear?
No, you haven't called for Georgia Baptist.
You did, I don't remember from your.
Yes,
Even besides.
and Holly from Georgia Baptist.
Well, she's administrator.
Passmore
This is alumni.
Excuse me.
Who we got for?
Mrs. Passmore Miller.
And Holly from Georgia Baptist.
She's the administrator from there.
Oh,
Mrs. Passmore Miller. That don't work.
No, we have two names to submit for chairman.
and equal time, don't you say?
I believe we're down to Emery, and the two names suggested is Alice Morgan and Yancey.
Mm-hmm.
Those in favor, Miss Morgan, would you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 8. 8 for Morgan. Yancey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, St. Joseph. Betty Connor. Clyde Cleveland. Grady number 1, Carolyn Morris. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Olive Rain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did I get everybody?
I didn't know, because I didn't know, I was waiting to hear the other name. I
Oh.
wasn't here.
7 and 8.
I didn't hear it.
Olive Rain.
Carolyn Morris.
Olive Reed.
Rains was the second.
I think I know that Morris girl, Grady girl.
You vote
I'll
for her?
vote for her.
Alright, then that breaks.
Which one did you vote for?
Morris.
the first time.
I think I know her.
Grady number 2, Marjorie Roberts.
And I'd like to add another name, Ms. Garner, if I'm correct, or in order. It'd either be Marjorie Roberts or, Marta Porter Bensley.
Bensley?
Bentley.
Bentley.
Want to take Dillard off?
No, Dillard was.
What's the
Oh,
name?
is she a member, Ken?
I don't recall the name right now, I've got.
Is she a member?
Marta Porter, yes, she's
Oh, married, well, yes, I know, but
What's her name? Margaret Porter.
Margaret Porter Bentley now.
Madam Chairman, Ms. Jones had given me Ms. Porter, is it, didn't you say her?
Margaret
Said
Porter
the-
Bentley?
The other one for the
Yeah.
first name. I had Ms. Porter as an alternate down here.
Now we have three names here. Okay? Marjorie Roberts. Those in favor of Marjorie Roberts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 for Marjorie Roberts. Porter Bentley.
The name.
Edna Dillon. Edna Dillon.
And Devlin has it, I know.
And we only had one name for Piedmont. So there's no competition.
Brosnan.
Now, individuals.
What is the name, please, ma'am?
Hattie
Bronson.
Bronson.
Hattie Bronson.
B-R-O-S-N-A-L.
B-R-O-S-N-A-N.
Brosnan.
Thank you.
And Georgia Baptist, we have Miss Holly already, Passmore Miller,
Mary Passmore Miller.
Mary.
Passmore Miller.
So
Mary Miller is the way she goes.
she's the only one that we have from Georgia Baptist. Sorry, got Miss Holly. All right, now those are the.
Individual. No.
Oh, they both going?
Two private duty representatives from alumni other than Fifth District. This is your individual members. It's been suggested Miss Lucy Mays, Ernestine Phillips, Virginia Deal. Those in favor of Miss Mays, close your eyes. Miss Mays.
I think we could make that unanimous.
I tell you right now, you won't have a harder working person. They just don't make it any harder. 11 for Miss Mays. Ernestine Phillips. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, you've got.
We got to vote for two, we got to have two
That's
members.
right. I'm calling them.
Oh, excuse. Well, then they can vote twice.
Ernestine Phillips, two individual members. And we have voted for Miss Mays. Yeah, now we'll vote for a second one. And the names, suggested Ernestine Phillips
Vote over again then.
And who else?
I didn't vote.
and Virginia Deal.
Well, we'll vote on separately.
Yeah.
Vote for one of
them.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Ernestine Phillips.
That's who we're voting for now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Virginia Deal.
Well, that's who we
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, 9 each of them, 9 each of them, is 18 people here? What's that?
9, I
You
counted
can vote
9 for
two
each
times,
one.
she says, for individuals.
Yeah, but you just want either one of those, don't you?
Ernestine Phillips, let me, count your
We're gonna have the two
I don't think
individuals
that-
vote.
Ernestine Phillips.
You can have Mace or one of these.
Oh, you can have Mace or.
Isn't that right? Mace or one of those. You can't
No,
have
you voting for Miss Phillips.
or
We-
Deere.
We've,
But they can vote for me.
majority.
Yeah.
So you gotta vote.
So
Some
we got to
people can
vote
vote.
one of these other
That's what I
two.
thought, but they were confused.
Well, I was
Yeah.
confused.
Vote for Phillips or Deere.
Ernestine Phillips, please. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, 7. Virginia Deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Miss Mace.
So it's Miss Mace and Miss Deal.
Deere, Miss Mace.
Now, the chairman of the private duty section.
We have two names to submit. Mrs. Helen Ross and Ms. Louise White.
Now, wait just a minute. The chairman of the private duty section is you.
You have have to be.
Oh, no, I'm automatically on, that's the
Well, this is
virtue,
what I'm saying, the fourth category here is the chairman of fire division section.
that's virtue of,
Okay, that's far as we are though.
Now, this is as far as we've got.
chairman.
Members of the committee must be members in good standing in the fifth district, Georgia State. That's not this here. It's just all the three.
How many people is that? How many people we have? We're only supposed to have 11.
Watson, Louise White.
How many people altogether?
One, two,
Yeah, members, 11 members, how many we got?
6, 7, 8, 9.
Has to have a
Nine with Ms. Irvin, 10.
Nine, and she makes 10. Ms. Dirks
Yeah,
makes
that's right,
10.
need one more.
Ms. Dirks makes 10, isn't that right?
That's right, that's right.
So now what is this we're voting on?
The chairman shall be a private duty nurse and shall be responsible for the management of the. Alright, chairman to be a private duty nurse, so then suggestions for
We
chairman.
have two names to submit, Mrs. Helen Watts and Mrs. Louise White.
Louise White, and what was that?
Helen Watts, W-A-A-S.
And Louise White.
Are there any other suggestions for chairman?
Yes, I know.
Is the chairman, Louise White, isn't she the person? That's right, another person, but she must be a private duty nurse. Yeah, it's the chairman. Are there any other suggestions for chairman? Louise White, say Helen Watt?
Helen Watson.
Helen Watts.
Private duty nurse. She's from Birmingham. She's been nursing, doing private duty in Atlanta for about 3 years. Real good nurse. And real dependable.
I nominate Ann Stevens.
Ann Stevens.
I was thinking about Ann Stevens too. Take those.
She's got her name,
S-T-E-P-H-E-N.
And Stevens will not accept, I asked her.
Oh, she said Ann's not gonna accept.
You won't accept?
Well,
We've already tried it. That's sufficient, yes. She said her health would not permit, her doctor would not let her.
Those in favor of Mrs. Louise White, raise your hand.
She was up there.
4, 5, 6, 7,
I saw from
10, 11. Helen Watt. 1, 2, 3. All right, Ms. White is chairman of the registry committee.
That's 11 members. I move the nominations be closed.
Now we have the registry committee. Now you have the registry committee. According to the
I
old.
don't have to make that. I don't have to say you.
Yeah, that's a steady job.
Sister's glad.
Grace, is there anything further you'd like to report?
I move we adjourn.
We've got 2 or 3 more other things to do.
Well, we already had the Mr. Garland as well wants to be recognized, I think.
Well, did you want to be recognized?
Well, just before we do adjourn, I just wondered what expense would be involved in, when the new thing, and they're incorporated in our bylaws, to make a sheet like this, so the copy that we just have would be up to date.
$167.
How much?
$167 to run it in the meter. And then we get 1,000 copies extra for $10, which is what you have right there. So we've been running on, we've been giving them out, had to send them all the way to 1962 convention.
I move that when these bylaws are brought into good shape, that they be sent to GSNA and put in, and we'll memorandum of that at a nominal cost.
Nominal cost, you could leave that off, Liz.
Well,
I'll second.
GSNA has to hit the districts and should
Well, you've heard the motion made by the executive secretary of Georgia State Nurses Association. And it's seconded, from the.
We do it from other districts.
Do you? Why have you been overlooking us?
Why don't you say
Been
that?
neglecting us. I don't believe this needs a motion. I'm sure everybody's in favor of saving a little money. Do we have anything from the advisory committee to the registry to report?
This committee has assumed and delayed in action because of some of our transactions. Proposals.
Are there any, recommendations from sections? If you don't have recommendations, we're gonna ask you for a report. Are there any, recommendations from Alumni Association? Crawford Long? Emory? George Baptist, State number 1, State number 2, Piedmont, it has been, suggested that the time of the board meeting be, set as the same time as the district meeting, 4:30 in the afternoon. What is your pleasure? It's getting, if I may just quote one of the members, more and more, what is it?
Well, they told me it was
Dangerous.
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 The night driving, the
For
lateness
women
of
to be
it.
out by themselves at night.
But oh, it's so tiresome to have to come straight to a meeting after working 8 hours. Anytime
Go to
suits
work
me.
at all hours.
Well, it is a good idea. It sounds like a good idea to be home.
Well, it went over so well with the, district meeting that, this is still a concern.
They last this long in
I like the alternation.
Down the cafeteria.
I do.
Well, suppose we vote on those in favor of meeting at 7:30. Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I could meet anytime.
Those in favor of, meeting the same time district at 4:30. I believe it's unanimous. And our next meeting then will be.
Not unanimous, but I guess it's
I
carried.
Majority. Excuse me.
Recognize your.
4:30 in the afternoon.
Will be more alert.
Well, how many, does it matter?
4:30 could be 2. We have in-service.
Last week, I operated.
All right, Miss, Atkins wants the number. Those in favor of 4:30. 4:30 now.
4:30.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those in favor of, 7:30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It doesn't make any difference to me one way or
Well, it
the
doesn't
other,
really
which,
either, but I
you
did
know,
see there's 2
whichever.
or 3 girls that couldn't come.
Even
The
our
officer's
secretary,
doing straight day duty, and so is she. Don't get
I
off.
hope to be able to sometime, but right now, no, I couldn't be here.
5 and what was the first one?
5 and 10.
5 and 10.
If our secretary can't be here, we ought to consider her.
I'm gonna be out of it soon.
The members on the board, whether they could be here or not, I mean, if they're elected, they ought to be here.
Madam
We're
Chairman,
not fixing to
may I
make
make,
it here.
Yes.
try it one time, and then see how it, works out.
Oh, yeah.
You may have to go back to the night meeting.
Can you call us 4:30?
It isn't convenient.
I
for
operate
everybody.
every Tuesday, almost to every
Well, and
second
see,
Tuesday.
she's representing a whole section on this
But
board.
that's, if I was rude, but I mean, I'm, that's my.
There's 2 here, so.
That couldn't come. Can you come at 4:30? See, so that's two representatives that couldn't be here.
I can't be here any Tuesday for all three.
What would happen if, as many
Well,
said
let's
they
try,
couldn't
because
come at
sometimes
7:30
if we have cancellations and things, now
One time.
we try.
Some people work at that
May
time.
meeting, and then if you find that it doesn't work, well,
If you don't have a quorum, then you can go back.
that's right.
But today I was off
I
at
think
4.
instead of making it, just change for the one time and then decide,
Today I couldn't
give
do
it a chance.
Is there any further business in the office?
I can't come at 7:30.
I'd like to make this announcement and have, request to make an announcement at the district meeting from the Heart Association that there is to be a symposium held on April the 6th from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Academy of Medicine. And it will be on the first 24 hours of the stroke. And there will be 2 doctor speakers and 1 nurse speaker, and the nurse speaker will be Miss Ruth Bryce from Emory. The 3 consultants that outlined for the nursing care was Miss Ruth Bryce, Miss Barbara Harris, and Miss Agnes Newell. And this is a symposium that's going to be given simultaneously over about a dozen different cities in Atlanta. So the meeting of the City Government State Nurses Association will come to order. At this time, we'll ask our chaplain, Ms. Dana Hudson, if she'll offer a word of prayer to open our meeting. Would you please stand? Ask them to come, and they will be given a packet that attend, and they will give them more information in it. And at the last meeting, I volunteered to make the announcement for at the 5th District because we do want a good attendance.
Now, if I forget it,
Miss Hammett's been on this committee much longer than I have, and I'm sure that she knows more about it than I do.
Well, that's just an announcement to be made to 5th District.
Our state convention's gonna be held in Savannah this year.
And if I may, I would like to repeat the announcement about the Southeastern Surgical Congress meeting for nurses at the district meeting also.
what is the date,
It'll be publicized in
We don't have to announce.
First week in
November.
November, though.
First week in November.
First Wednesday.
is there any other business? Do I hear a motion that we
This concludes the recording of the meeting March the 9th of the Executive Board at St. Joseph. The short interruption you heard a few minutes ago was made by mistake, thinking this was a new tape. As we started the meeting on the 11th, it was quickly removed and the meeting continued. Just that one slight interruption.